Yes, and we are live. Good evening, everybody. It's the Omega Files. And here once again, we've convened to discuss the latest episode of Doctor Who, which is Dot and Bubble, which was kind of weird. But at the same time, it. All right, to be honest with you, just off the top of my head, this is the episode that I saw the clip for it, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a total shit bomb. But it did turn out to be better than I thought it was going to be. But okay, so let's go around. I'm going to get your guys' take on it. We're going to start at the top this week. DWC, your take on Dot and Bubble.
Okay, so here's my bit. It can be amazing how much you dislike an episode. From the beginning, this episode beats you over the head with its social commentary in a way that frankly really undermines young people, that they're lazy, can't interact properly, and won't get off their devices. Ironic given many will be watching this episode on their phones. This whole premise is frankly a lazy trope that has been said about young people, about texting, video games, TV. Go back far enough, it's been said about novels. Just reeks of paranoia from older writers. The character of Lindy, as with all the characters, was so annoying that it was just impossible to like any of them. Once again, playing into this issue about the depiction of young people, with Ricky September only being partly likable because he comes across as an almost doctor-like figure. Also, am I the only one who thought that he looked a little bit like Pex from Paradise Towers? Oh, and thanks a lot, Russell, for putting the 90s song Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in my head. That's just what I needed. The monster of the week was frankly inconsistent. While the man traps looked great, when it became clear that it was the dots killing the residents of Fine Time, it makes you realize, why did the dots need the man traps at all? But if there's anything that can affect a bad episode, it's how its ending can change it to a good episode. The ending of this episode suddenly makes everything bad make sense, as the reason these characters are annoying is because you're supposed to hate them. And when you look back, Lindy's racism was clear as it was peppered throughout the episode, with her greater hostility towards the Doctor than Ruby, and comments like asking the Doctor if the man traps were something to do with you, or I blocked you, I thought you just looked the same, or I was so right to hate you, and guys, I know this is wrong, and when this is over, he's going to be so disciplined, I can't wait. And in even Lindy's reaction to Ricky September, a doctor-like figure who's white compared to the actual Doctor who's black. But to top it off, the Doctor isn't angry about the racism. He's angry because he knows the survivors will die if they don't let the Doctor help them. But their racism won't let them, and they would rather tame the planet like their ancestors. So white imperialism as well. Overall, an episode that started bad, but in one huge twist left an impression that will make it talked about for a long time to come.
Alrighty, AJ.
Um, yeah, I didn't mind this episode. It was kind of interesting. The multiple social commentaries, social media, um, ageism, racism, all that stuff. Even to the point of like celebrity with Ricky September, where he literally seems at the beginning like a vapid character, but in real life, he's a genuine person. He likes to read books. Um, he has a normal life. He doesn't want to be someone who's always turned on 24/7. And to me, he kind of looked like a young David Bowie. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but I saw it. That's how I saw him. The man traps actually made me laugh because there was an episode of Extras where Ricky Gervais plays a villain in a Doctor Who thing with David Tennant, and he's dressed up in a costume very similar to looking like that. It made me laugh out loud how hilarious it was. But the twist at the end was, the Doctor wanted to save these people, but these people were too stupid to be saved or want to be saved. They thought they could do it all by themselves, being, privileged white kids, I guess. But to see this doctor actually finally lose his cool and not have a smile on his face, it felt genuine, like where he literally screamed out in anger, "Why won't you let me save you?" And these people just turned their backs on him and walked away. I hope at the end of that water tunnel there was a giant man trap that just swallowed them all, boat and all. I gotta say, Lindy was a very stupid and unlikable character. She literally walked into a pole without having anything in front of her to distract her. These people could not even function without technology, which is, I guess, the inverse of saying that, you know, we can function with technology, but, you know, we're distracted by it. Whereas they need it to function. You know, I'm amazed it doesn't tell them when to go to sleep, how to eat, how to go to the toilet even. So I guess it's a flippy floppy social commentary, but it's an okay episode, but not the best.
Okay, William.
Hey now, what about you going to be hearing some loud explosions because everybody's getting ready for this Sunday Puerto Rican festivities. Hey, yeah, like DWEC, that it started off weird. Of course, you know, when they're playing that stupid song, and I say, wait a minute, they're not from Earth. Why they're playing? They're using that song. They could have came up with an original song or something obscure that nobody heard about. And then you're following the episode. You notice they're all in a certain age range. And then she said they only work for a couple of hours a day, and that's it. And I call the creatures eating them up. These big ugly snails, whatever you want to call them. I mean, that one bugged me out. But I said, how they were they originally been living in that planet without them knowing about it, or did they arrive at the planet to grab them? Because later on in the episode, we find out where the kids came from. Their home world is gone. You can say it was destroyed. But we don't know if it was those creatures or not, because we didn't see no UFOs or any way for them to be moving around or them talking or communicating. So I don't know how they be able to use any vehicle to move around. That the bug out. What's funny, of course, when she drops the bubble and she can't walk and hits a pole. I said that's worse than I said that's real bad. I said you that dependent on that stupid little gadget to get around. And I said, and then the big revelation at the ending about because I didn't realize it, so I noticed it when everybody was getting ready to go on the boat and all that. I said, hey, I don't see no other black people there or Asian or nothing like that. I didn't realize that until, and then when they dissed him right there in his face because of his skin color, I said, holy shit. I'm like, yo, doctor, man, hit that sonic screwdriver and unlock that door and let those creatures in, man. I was man. Ooh, I was real mad. I was real mad. But the thing is, they laugh and we don't know what happens to them. And what's funny, those stupid little the dot needs to be charged. So where they going to charge it up at? So it's going to take they got enough for a day to use the dot, the dot, and when they got tools, to build the new houses for themselves. I mean, that left me very perplexed. It's the shocking revelation that made me think about the other things with the other characters like that. And then the way that guy got killed off, man, I like, oh, that's cold. That was cold. I said, that tells you right there, these things that was eating them, that was their way of surviving. What she did shows her being more of a monster than than those creatures were. That was cold. That was real cold. And was unusual, they had that stupid fake doctor saying that, you don't need to do number one. And then later on, she was so stressed out, she had to go to the bathroom. And then the friend was saying, "Hey, I'm been calling these people and I'm not in contact with them. Something's not going on." And she's just a airhead that don't pay attention to him because I don't understand how the society is with them. That all they think about is swiping and jibber jabber or nothing like that. Because in reality, with the creatures, even if the creatures did not exist at all, they were going to die out because you don't see them mingling with each other. So you know they were not going to be able to procreate. So they were going to die out no matter what. That's really bugged out. So that shocking revelation in the end really made people talk. Besides me and a lot of people talk about it, but it made me question of like where these creatures came from and stuff like that. So I wish they would have spent a little few more minutes just to get into that. But it's not a bad episode, but man, whoa, that bugged me out. That's my opening statement.
It frightened the crap out of me. I'm not kidding, because of the fact that, we're at a point, as far as our technology goes with social media and all that. It's like we don't have the dot in the bubble. We have these. And when I'm at work, I still can't get over the fact of how many people are literally sitting there and they will have their phone propped up on something. They'll figure out a way to do it. And sure enough, all they're doing all day long, they're either on earbuds chatting away with somebody else, or they're on earbuds staring at the screen, trying to watch a video, do their work. And there's some of the folks that I work with who literally are on that thing. And then I'm sitting there going, wow, you've got to charge that thing how many times a day? Because I charge my phone once, okay? And I go into work. By the time I leave, I still have about a third of my battery because I only listen to audiobooks. There are folks who are literally so wrapped up in video chats, just playing videos, YouTubes, and, TikTok and all that, to the point that I don't even think they're ready for reality when the day ends. It's kind of frightening. It was almost like an episode of Black Mirror is the vibe I got off it, because we're almost to that point now where people have become so addicted and so, even though we've come, we're so able to reach more people now, across the planet. Like we are here, we're here right now. We got, guys in the US, we got, DWC there in England. Of course, we got AJ there in Australia. But at the same time, there's so many people who are so into that, and at the same time, they're so isolated from the people who are right next to them, that it's just frightening the way this episode, picked up on that. Plus the fact that, you had this people, which had me rolling at the end, because, well, we're going to go off into the wild, and we're going to, be like the pioneers. And I'm like, they're not going to last 5 days. And that's being generous. Come on. These people a few minutes ago couldn't even walk around without instructions. And they think they're going to go survive in the woods? What are they going to think? Google how to start a fire? Are they going to Google how to hunt? Because they're not going to get food out there. It's like, are they going to Google how to skin a deer? Is there even wildlife or anything like that for them to live on? Come on, I don't even think they know how to put tab A in the slot B, shall we say, without instructions. And yet they think they're going to go off into the wild and everything's going to be fine. I'm like, how stupid are you people? And plus the fact that on top of that, you have the ignorance of just blatant racism. They didn't trust the doctor because he wasn't like them. Now, originally, people probably were thinking, well, he's not from this place. And then it hits. Wait a minute. I'm not seeing any other, types of people here. They're all pretty much the same. And, of course, we find out, that you can only be in this place if you're like 17 to 27. And, of course, you have to be rich to pay for it. And, of course, the nice bit of irony there towards the end where, they bring up the screen of the homeworld and everybody's already gone. They've already been consumed. And that was the best part about this, in a way, about, these creatures. even though they're the threat, they're not really the major part of the story, are they? Because they're not exactly this big, complicated type villain. They're not speedy predators. They're not running around at light speed kicking everybody's butt. They're just, okay, let's eat another one. They're literally slugs. And the prey is so simple-minded and easy. They don't have to really expend any effort. Just, all right, time to go eat another one. No effort at all. Because yet these people think they're going to go off and survive in the wild. Oh, man. All right, Willie.
You know what confused me a little bit is why these creatures were eating each person in alphabetical order.
All right. It is kind of explained. The doctor said that the man traps were created, so it was the implication was that the dots created the man traps, and that's why they were eating in alphabetical order. It was all part of the dots who had become, the dots themselves had become sentient and got so annoyed with these kids, these obnoxious entitled kids, but just decided to finally kill them off one by one, which again brings the point of, why did they even need the man traps when it was so clear the dots could have just killed them right there?
You know what the funny thing is that the man trap could have easily wiped them all out by waiting for them to go to sleep, and he just could have grabbed them right there, all in one night. All in one night when they all go to sleep.
It's, like I said, sorry, I began my part by highlighting what I didn't like at the beginning. I didn't, and there's still parts I don't like. On contrary to Dr. Freeman's attitude, I don't like the way it treats young people. How a lot of writers now want to treat young people like they're so addicted to everything. I think it's just a lot of old people not understanding that times have changed. And also, another point, you kind of mentioned this, William, about the fact that she couldn't seem to walk. That whole part about, wow, when they couldn't walk without their dots, I was like, oh, come on. That is completely unrealistic. Just muscle memory alone would have got her to be able to walk, get people to walk properly. I find it hard to, even if these guys aren't human, I find it hard to believe that they weren't learning to walk before they got their dots.
I think it's because they'd become so used to being guided, is what it was. That it wasn't a matter of they couldn't walk. It's just the fact that they became so addicted to the technology telling them what to do.
But you wouldn't walk into a table.
I don't know. It depends. But like I said, it's just.
I'm a bit confused about their job. So they really had no job, because the dot. If you say if the dot's controlling them to move and all that, that means the dot was making them do their whatever job they were doing.
They did say what the job was. I just can't remember it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AJ.
Go ahead, AJ.
I was going to say, so this episode is almost similar to that second season episode with David Tennant, where they're in the parallel universe with the Cybermen, with the earbuds controlling them. So maybe that's like RTD sort of like different spin and parallel on that.
That episode was certainly about upgrades and having the latest thing, because that was very much the thing at the time. Yeah,
but it's the same thing with Dot and Bubble, really. It's just taken to a further stage with social media and so forth.
Yeah, the Age of Steel, Rise of the Cybermen. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
remember that wasn't that many people that had cell phones back in 2005, 6.
Well, not smartphones, but
not smartphones,
no. Which is weird. And again, that woman shows up in a little cameo.
Yeah,
that's been in every episode. Like, who this shit? I mean, she just showed up and doesn't, he recognized her, like, and
they recognize her, but also it was apparently Lindy's mum for that story too.
Yeah,
so
it was.
I'm still leaning towards the theory that they're trapped in the land of fiction. Ruby isn't real. The Doctor is trapped in the land of fiction.
It is going to be interesting to see the results of that darn DNA scan he started how many episodes ago? Remember?
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, going to be one of the thing that's going to make things click into place eventually. Because after Rogue, we've got, I think goes Legend of Ruby Sunday? Is the one after that?
I don't know if that's the last one or the second to last one.
No, that's second to
can't-
last one. The final one is Ambassador. You know, you could say it almost sounds like Ambassadors of Death. You know that
Ah.
final one.
So I like that someone just mentioned the comments. Yeah, lorry jam under the bridge because of GPS. Yeah, because so many people follow GPS. Yeah, I've had that happen. Oh, well, not exactly like that. I'm back in the early days when we first started doing those things. You'd have the map say you would go this direction, go that direction, and then sure enough, you show up. And this one time I was going out to some friends of mine, and this is the first time I'd been out to their place. They said, "Oh yeah, be sure when you get to here to do a thing because that entire section of that town had been, that street and all that had been redone, and it wasn't coming up on the GPS that you had to go around that section. It was taking you right up to this part." And it's like, well, keep going forward. Well, I can't. Why? Because they're digging a freaking sewer tunnel through there. It's like, I don't think my car is going to make it. So yeah, I can see where you can equate it with GPS and all that. People become so it's so much easier just to follow the GPS than it is to pull out a map like we used to back in the day.
Another rather interesting aesthetic point of this episode, and I learned this from watching Who Cultures talk about it. There's actually there isn't just simply the bubble you're seeing run ahead. If you actually look, there's actually bubbles in almost all of the architecture everywhere. You can actually see when Lindy gets up, there's a painting and there's lots of bubbles. See a window, it's in a circular shape. Even the light is actually circular. And of course, they're in a dome. They are quite literally, the whole city is in a bubble. There is pretty much bubbles literally everywhere dotted throughout this landscape in this episode.
Okay, anybody else before we rate this thing? Or
The weird thing about the name of the planet being Fine Time, so that's sound like a TV show.
There's also an interesting behind the scene. After they go through the opening credits and you see this sort of Blade Runner style guy, weatherman guy talking, they actually say something about how the weather satellites are malfunctioning. Apparently, that was to hide the fact that it was actually rainy and windy that day of filming, which, being a perfect bubble dome, you wouldn't really expect.
I missed that bit. Okay. But then again, as our friend Steven says, why do they keep filming there in Wales? Because it's always freaking raining here. Okay. Oh, well. So let's rate this sucker. We're going to put it to bed. Let's start at the bottom. William, out of 10, how do you rate Dot and Bubble?
I give it an 8 out of 10. The revelation in the end made it what it is, and I didn't realize it to the end. About the way that there was no color people, other races. There was no other races there. I was totally shocked. I wasn't even. I mean, I really just thought of it as a regular thing until that revelation in the end. So that was a good thing. I would still like to know where these slimy things come from, though.
Okay, AJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. Lindy just straight up killing Ricky September was brutal and heartless, and then she turns and lies to the doctor about it face to face. Not cool.
I know she was. When that scene played out, the first thing out of my mouth was, "She is such a see you next Tuesday." If you don't want to, okay, DWC.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6 as well, mainly because, like I said, the first half of it wasn't great, but the last bit did pump it up, even though the last bit does actually pump up parts from the beginning, but I'm still ultimately giving it a 6. Also, just to end things off with me, people were already comparing, when Ricky was fighting off the Dot, people were comparing it to Luke Skywalker. Personally, I just thought he was just fighting off the Dot.
Okay, I'm going to give it an 8 because, at first, it's weird, it's what you call it, but then it does really pay off very well at the end. And plus the fact that, like I said, it's a really good, kind of scary because of the fact of, we do have a lot of people on the planet, no matter what age, that are, I've seen people, up to their oh gosh, ages 8 to 80 who are so obsessed with social media that, sometimes they just are totally locked into it. So very powerful one for me. So yeah, I'm definitely giving this one an 8. All right, so next week, join us for Rogue. And no, it has nothing to do with the X-Men character.
All
right.
I would like to send a condolences to the family of Liam Russell, who we lost a few days ago. But he lived up to the age of 99, so you got to give him props for that.
I heard, yeah, they put a little thing for him at the end of this episode this week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
of Rogue. They the
Yeah,
edit department very quickly put some.
Let's hope we see Carrie Ann Ford, because she is the last one of the original cast still around.
Yeah, I mentioned that this week that she's the last surviving member of the original cast now. So, okay. Well, folks, we'll see you all next time. Be sure to take care out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And join us next week. We gather to talk about Rogue. Until then,
Be seen.
have a good one.
See you guys.
There we go.
Oh, good.
Time is still moving.
That's what I was going to say.
You're still alive.
Hang on. Oh, that's why that thing popped up. Are you having trouble connecting? Nah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.